thought to speak on the comparative study of Buddhism and Advaita Vedanta, especially the Hinduism and Buddhism. Is Buddhism a radical departure from Hinduism? I think I should not take much time now. If the organizers can publish it, the paper will be available there. One good thing, what I feel is worthy for us, that our lost traditions are preserved by the Tibetan translations. If our Sanskritized people and Tibetan scholars can work together, then we can regain our old tradition. And some of such works, for your information, have been doing by in Tibetan Central University of Sarnath. Since my personal research is based on Nagarjuna's philosophy, I had to rely on them. Some of the texts have been reconstructed in Sanskrit by a group of scholars, and this needs translations in any Indian languages. So, for example, Pratitya Samutpadu Hridaya Karika is Nagarjuna's work, 7 verses. I consider this is one of the most fundamental work done by Nagarjuna. So I'm very happy that he trusts from these sources. And as we see, philosophers seldom differ. I know there are many questions in all of our mind. In philosophy, we say, Senior Professor Singh is here, that it's more important to raise question, the doubt. Unless you have doubt, you cannot start the process of investigation. So, ipso facto doubt is very healthy. He raised it. All the papers presented in this plenary session, rather concluding session, are of different aspects of the issues. They're like jewels, different jewels in the garlands of the plenary session. Another distinguishing thing of this Dharma-Dhamma conference I see, normally the Vice-Chancellors, they don't get time for academic session. Exception is the Vice-Chancellor of this university. The host is such. If someone offers you dinner and the host is absent, how would you feel when you are taking your food? It's an exception, and this gives me another philosophy of optimism, rather our future. Because, unless you have this closeness of your heart, we cannot do anything. People say Buddhism, there is a view that Buddhism is a radical departure from Hinduism. It's a new way. There are some reasons, there are some speculations too. But you see, Buddha I consider, is a reformer. It is the whole Indian tradition, the spiritual tradition. Buddha said, Pariksha madvacha grajam bhikshave natu gauravat. So be rational, be critical. If it is said by me, don't accept it without critical examinations, which in Kant's philosophy we say critique of pure reason. Pure reason reconciles the apparent contradictions. Another important feature of Indian spirituality, it is not anti-reason. The pure reason is there in our spirituality. This spirituality, pure spirituality, is that not to gain something, but to give something. How far, how much I can sacrifice. So this is the philosophic way. It's a traditional Indian way of thinking. The concept of moksha as well as nirvana, these are not contradictory. These are different paths. Different paths. One is epistemic, how things are known developed by the Buddhists. The modality, world of modality is the concern. The greatest logician India ever produced is Nagarjuna. If you closely try to read his text, you will see there is the distinction between object language, meta language. We know from the Greeks the logic of modality, necessity, and possibility. If something is necessary, it must be possible. If something is possible, it may not be necessary. So we'll have to examine it. And you see, Buddha protested against two things: the hereditary privilege. This is casteism, ordinarily we say, but he was not against this quality classification. Secondly, the view of substance view of reality. Substance view of reality, when you assert it, it leads to difficulty. He says, starts with experience. As we see in Immanuel Kant's philosophy, nothing can be an object of knowledge which is not an object of experience. Same is said in Shankara, in Shankara's philosophy. In Brahma Jnana Mala, verse number 21, we read, Slukhardana Prabhaksami Yoduktang Grantha Kutivi, Brahma Sattang Jaganamitta Jiva Brahmaiva Napura. Whatever is said in thousands of thousands books, I can tell you in a half verse. Brahman is the only reality. And ultimately, there is no difference. So these are two ways. Even in Nirvana's interpretation, there are different interpretations are available. But one emphasizing the Tibetan traditions and also the Nalanda tradition is that the Samsara and Nirvana, these are not two realities. Ya koti nirvanasya sa koti sangsarasya. Sangsarat nirvanasya nasti kinchid visheshanam. Nirvanasya sangsarat nasti kinchid visheshanam. There is not the slightest difference between what is called nirvana and what is called samsara. So be very much in samsara with no attachment. How to eradicate the trishna, how to overcome the version of Maro. This Buddhistic understanding of the world influenced later Hinduism. If we read Chaitanya or Bhashava in the 12th century, there is no casteism. Even in modern era, if you read closely Swami Vivekananda, he adopted many things from Buddhist philosophy, the monastic system, rejection of caste privilege by birth, and Buddhishuddha ideal of education, of eradication of suffering of all. The great compassionate heart of the Buddha attracted Swamiji and influenced his religion of service for mankind. In fact, what I feel, these two great traditions represent one principal stream of India's culture in two different ways. In course of historical development, one influences the other and makes other richer than the earlier. I hope the future of glorious India lies in assimilation of both Hindu and Buddhistic philosophic thought and sadhana. I would like to conclude congratulating again the organizers and very initiation for Dhamma-Dhamma conference. We hope in future we'll continue this understanding. As said by Vivekananda, one of all the teachers of the world, Buddha was the one who taught us most to be self-reliant, who freed us not only from the bondage of our false selves, ego, but from dependence on the invisible beings or beings called God or gods. Buddha invited everyone to enter into the state of freedom, which is called Nirvana. All must attain it one day, and the attainment is the complete fulfillment of man. This is said by Vivekananda. With these few words, I thank all the speakers and all the scholars assembled here, because without the scholars' support, it could not be happened. Thank you so much. Sabbe bhavantu sukhina. Let everybody be happy. Namaskar.